Hey there, All Things MSP crew. We are back with another vendor update. This is one of the vendors that's been around with us for probably the longest period of time. No stranger to the group or the channel, and that is EasyDMARC. So, Mike, welcome again to the channel. Glad to see you here.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you too.
Yeah, no problem. Love having you guys on because you guys really kind of, in our space at least, kind of pioneered selling DMARC as a service and really helping MSPs tell that story to the MSP world so that they could go out and help their clients with it, especially now that it's required. You and I were talking earlier before we started recording that DMARC's actually been out for a long time. It's only been since it was required that it became an issue, I would call it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is DMARC is never super sexy to talk about, and in fact, we recommend our MSPs don't talk about DMARC or configuration in any way. We recommend they talk about business outcomes that are related to DMARC enforcement or configuration. And that's really what it comes down to. The adoption rate was in single digits, like you mentioned, before the requirement. But with the requirement now, email deliverability rates go down or drop off the cliff. And all of a sudden, a business can't manage its email flow for super important things like invoicing, email marketing, and of course, CRMs or supply chain ticketing systems, anything that requires sending out emails. And when that inboxing or deliverability goes down, it's really hard to run a business, especially when you're talking about revenue collections or sales engagements or sales leads with all of these systems. And so what we've done is brought that into the forefront, into the spotlight to say, DMARC is not about configurations. It's about solving those business outcomes for your customer.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a lot of people, when they talk about email deliverability, they talk about sales and marketing, right? And yes, that's a very important part of it. But you just touched on something that's probably even more important than that. And that is the deliverability of things like invoices. Like, if you're not sending out invoices or they're not getting delivered, because you are sending them, they're just not getting delivered, then your cash flow is going to suffer. And that's even worse than not being able to add additional revenue.
Yeah, and everybody knows cash flow is the lifeblood of all businesses, number one. Number two, cash flow solves a lot of problems, right? You can do a lot of things. And so having the number one issue being invoicing with what we see in deliverability these days, close second is email marketing. You've got to be able to overcome that for your customer. And the thing about platforms like ours, it will give you insight into those deliverability percentages, especially when you identify the sources that are not configured correctly and what it's doing to damage that deliverability. That's really where you can connect with your prospect on, hey, this has to be done. It's a new requirement. Let's get this up to speed. So it becomes a new line of revenue and profitability. And with our platform, you can even use it to use publicly available data to generate leads to start those conversations for new prospects.
Yep. And now you guys have added a couple of new features or are in the process of adding a couple of new features. What are some of those things that you guys have done recently?
Well, number one is the lead generation component. So we have created a system where you can scan publicly available DNS information and get a risk assessment profile. Now, that's nothing new, and several platforms have that. But we have automated multiple steps beyond that to really create opportunities for the MSPs. And so, number one, we allow you to take that assessment and automatically put it into a report, a 7-page PDF report that presents as an authority stamp when you approach a prospect. This is not the same old, hey, I'm an MSP, I'd like to talk to you about your security needs. Yeah, no thanks. I get 10 calls a month from MSPs. Click. Right. And I sat in your chair and you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's hard marketing. So instead of, the generalized spray and pray approach, this is what's called high intent signaling. Right. So we allow you to embed that domain scanner into your website. So when traffic comes in, people can scan their domain and see the risk assessment score. Now, based on that, right? You're going to see a couple of behaviors. Number one, when a business owner gets a bad score, they're going to have what's called cognitive dissonance, right? They're going to be in their comfort zone, and then they're going to move out of that comfort zone like, this is not good. And so we actually have multiple mechanisms where the MSP can see this opportunity. The first way is the business owner can see that bad score and click a button that says, fix this score, or, solve this problem, whatever you want. You customize this whole feature. And when they click on that button, it redirects them to your sign up page where you can capture their information. And of course, now you've got a deal to go work, a deal that you would never see otherwise. The second thing that we're introducing is a feature called Touchpoint. And this is now in our beta testing, and we have rolled it out. Available for our MSPs. There's currently no cost to use it, where even if they don't leave their information, when they scan their domain, we are going to scrape that information and we're going to enrich it into a ready to contact opportunity. And so it will show you, and this is connecting to commonly available databases like Zoom and Apollo, and amalgamating this and presenting it to you ready to contact. It will tell you who the company is, how big they are, what industry they're in, location. It will give you the top 5 contacts with their email address and their LinkedIn profile. It will show you the domain that they scanned and that risk assessment score. So now imagine in this. I'm a business owner and I'm sitting at my desk and I heard about my buddy getting spoofed. And this is a true story, by the way. And so I decide to go looking to see if my domain is scanned. And I land on one of EasyDMARC's MSPs who has a domain scanner. So I scan my domain and I score a 0 out of 10. Everything's red. Now, as a business owner, I'm thinking 2 things. Who do I fire and how do I fix this right now? So I'm really worried about that second part, right? How do I fix this? And in parallel, while that's happening, that signal is taken and it's scraped and it is enriched and it has notified the MSP, hey, somebody's on your website and they scanned their domain. The MSP goes in there, looks at that score, sees it's an opportunity, creates the report, looks at the contact information, and sends it out it was a construction firm owner while they're still sitting at their laptop. Imagine how powerful that is. And what that's called is the window of suggestibility. When we look at bad information, and this is any of us, when we see something that gets us off center, right, we're looking at how we can get back on center quickly. And so our window of suggestibility is open. And so we give the MSP the ability to strike while the iron is hot, while my suggestibility is wide open and I'm looking to fix it. And in fact, you can create that report, send it to them while they're still sitting at their laptop looking at this report. Ding, they get that thing that says domain scan results and report. And they're thinking to themselves, wow, I'm looking at this and now I've got a report. They open up the report, they read it, they figure out this is not good. They saw the score. And the 2 top ways you convince anybody to do anything is through your story and through your data, right? So now they read your story on their website, they scanned their domain, they have the data, and now you've connected it with a report. What you're doing is creating a bridge, right? Remember, they're off course and you're creating that bridge where you can pull them back. Hey, here's a complimentary report about what it means, or specialists that can fix it. We should have a conversation. And think about how powerful that is. Now the business owner is looking at that. He sees your contact information, picks up the phone and calls you and goes, Eric, what is this? This looks bad. How can we get this fixed? Right? And so the data is undeniable about, first in to win 78% of the time. If you respond quickly, strike while the iron's hot, you're almost 400% more likely to win the business. And it will show you opportunities that you would have never seen before. And it'll give you the ability to be the only one looking at that opportunity. So the benefits are endless. And we do it all just so our MSPs can grow, because we know if you're adding customers, you're adding their domain to our platform, and it's a win for both of us.
Yep, absolutely. Now, I know that some people would say that, maybe following up that quickly is a little creepy, but I think the psychology wins out here that you described.
The psychology and the data is undeniable. We've done the studies, and it all shows, based on what we're talking about, that window of openness, right? And the data shows at that time when somebody is uncomfortable, which they're going to be uncomfortable with that score, and they have that cognitive dissonance, They are looking for what's called a bridge. And this is, you can, if anybody wants to go look this up, this is all psychological terms. At that moment, I'm more concerned about how to get back on center than that's my number one concern. And so I'm open to having that conversation. And in fact, the studies show people are more concerned about fixing it than they are about what it costs to fix it. That's
Right.
how open people are. And so, no, this is a free exchange of information. So they scanned their domain and they got a result, information as a result of it. So they were entitled to a result. You're entitled to know who's on your website scanning their domain. And so we give you that free exchange of information. And the data is, again, undeniable. If you respond quickly, you're almost 400% more likely to win the business. And in the MSP business, first in to win, which means the first person they talk to wins the business 78% of the time, right? And so what we're doing with this program is I'm just stacking the odds in your favor that you're going to go have a conversation and likely win the business, right? You have to do that part. You have to go win it. But I'm, again, giving you opportunities that you would never see before.
Yeah. And really, that follow-up period of time is critical, because the longer that you wait, the more they are naturally going to gravitate back to center, back to their comfort zone. And so that's why the immediacy of this is so effective.
And you know how this goes. We all do the same thing. I look at something and I'm worried about it. I'm looking for a first responder. My sales filter is all the way down. I just need you to fix it, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is the longer time goes by, and you can go, again, this is all based on studies. We're going to talk ourselves in and out of danger 16 times before, somebody reaches out to us, if they wait till the next day. And in fact, we may go, oh, it's okay. I haven't been hacked before. I haven't lost money before. I guess I'm good. And by the time you reach out, they're like, oh, I'm not that afraid of it, right? Striking while that iron's hot is the key to this. And the data is undeniable. And so you get people in and out of their frame, right? And you present that report. This is not, hey, a general sales approach. When you send that report, that's a badge of authority. Hey, you're looking for a solution. I'm just aligning this report, for what you're looking at. And naturally, once you align with somebody, there's only one way to go, right? To the close, to write it up. And so you're not selling at that point. You're simply being an authority of, yeah, you did see the information. And the problem is, not seeing the information. The problem was that you didn't know about it. Well, we've uncovered that. Now you know. We're specialists that can fix it. Let's just write it up.
Yep. Now, before we move to the next topic, I do want to say one of the things I would tell MSPs about this is don't think about it as being creepy. Think about it as being effective. And that's what we're really trying to do here. We're trying to put an effective solution in the hands of this client who has this problem immediately. Now, you told me when we were talking before we started the recording that you guys have something new that hasn't even come out yet. And I believe you called it EasySender?
That's correct. Yeah. So EasySender is an inboxing and deliverability platform. So we're building the pieces, and eventually we will have what's called a platform play. And you hear that term everywhere across. Right? We started out with EasyDMARC and the sales component. And so the next logical step, because DMARC gets you secure, but it also helps get you into the inbox. Well, if you've had bad inboxing practices and sending practices for so long, you're still going to have problems with the deliverability or inboxing. So the next logical step was for us to create a enterprise grade analytics tool to be able to determine, okay, what's good, what's bad, how do I fix it? And you can't, DMARC is the control plane, but EasySender is that analysis and assessment plane for your sending signals, what's good, what's bad, again, how to fix it. So your chances of getting into the inbox go up, but you can't do that unless you know what the problem is. And the first thing you have to do is use EasySender to assess the environment and then come back with some deliverables of what needs to change and how you need to change it. So we are going to be rolling that out in May at the Deliverability Summit, and that will be a platform that the MSPs can use now. And I will tell you this, right? And we can, mark this down. Deliverability and inboxing is the end game for MSPs. At some point, email delivery performance and control will be the terminology, and it will be a practice, right? DMARC as a service is now a new practice relative to the last couple of years. right? That will even expand into, just deliver a deliverability or assessment platform where we can really get the line of sight through the whole process. And I'm talking about, connecting all of your sending sources, what it's doing through the pipe, to the, all the DNS providers on the backside, and having that middle plane where you can look, assess, and control it. That will be a practice that MSPs will be able to roll out in the coming years. Again, mark this down that I said that because that is coming.
Well, because deliverability ultimately is the business outcome that we're trying to solve for. That's
and you know how this goes, right? I'm a business owner. I wake up and realize my invoices aren't delivering. Guess who I'm going to blame? Whether it's your fault or not, you know who I'm going to blame.
Yep,
the MSP.
100%. It's the MSP.
Yeah, and so we're going to give you that visibility layer where you can, again, good news. We're going to get in front of this conversation, and we always teach our providers to always approach this as good news, right? They go, "Oh, I don't want to DMARC. I'm behind." No, it's good news. There's a new requirement. I'm here to get you up to standard. Good news. We're here to put out the fire before it starts. Same thing with deliverability. Okay, we've built that foundational layer. Now I still need help inboxing. Hey, we can analyze it. Good news. We know how to fix it and create a practice around that. This is not another tool. MSPs need another tool like you need a hole in the head. This is a tool that you can make money with and go and create another service category.
Yeah. And this is not unlike, when we created voicemail, right? And that started intercepting phone calls. When we started, getting so much trash mail in our mailbox that we just stood over the garbage can and threw it away, except for the stuff we knew we actually were expecting and needed. This is kind of getting over the same problem, but for email. And I don't know what else is coming that might replace email. I don't know that anything will in the near future anyway.
This is the number one communication systems that all businesses around the world rely on. Even if you're a call center and you're about those calls, you still have that email in front of you creating. And so, businesses, especially the MSP category, their businesses run on email. That's how the majority of the world's business is done, through email communications. And so, that next evolution is coming down the road. Remember when MSPs used to manage a bunch of servers 20 years ago? Mm-hmm. Now virtually manage no servers, right? Same thing with email delivery, that communication and control plane and assessment and visibility plane, right? That's not even a thought in most MSPs' mind, and it will be very soon, because as deliverability continues to plummet, and it is, even with DMARC standards in place, right? Now they have such strict sending requirements that people may or may not be aware of. And because it's in the matrix, right, we have really little control over. This will give you the analysis of what the matrix is doing to you, so that you can create that visibility layer to say, okay, we need to fix this, and exactly how to fix it. And most importantly, charge money for it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Mike, it was great having you on today. I really thank you for updating us on what EasyDMARC is doing. If anybody wants to find out more about EasyDMARC, just go to atmsp.link/EasyDMARC. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Eric. Good to see you as always.